Hello, let's talk about how you can open images in Photoshop. We have a bunch of ways of doing the same thing, and I attached a file to this lecture where you can get the short version. Each method has its own strengths, so let's take them one at a time. The first way is to right-click your file and choose Open With. From this list, choose Photoshop. In case it's not there, you'll have to browse your computer for your photoshop.exe file. OK, once I click it, the photo will load up immediately and it's going to be the only layer in my project. You can see it's called Background and it's locked. To unlock it, we have to double-click it. From this new window, hit OK. Now we can move it onto our canvas. The second method is what I personally use the most and I strongly recommend it. Ctrl-O, where the O stands for Open. Now I don't have anything opened. This brings us to the third way of opening an image. Dragging it into Photoshop. I'll go to my desktop and I'll select my file. Click and hold and I'll drop it anywhere. As you can see, this is similar to the first method where I have my layer locked by default. But what happens if you have an active project and you want to start a new one by dragging a photo inside the program? That's method number 4. I'll go to my desktop and select another image. When Photoshop pops up, I won't let go inside my canvas area. As you can see, there's a highlight around it. Instead, I'll go above it, just underneath the options bar. This is where I'll drop it. And now it stands on its own tab. You might be wondering what happens if you drag an image above an active project. That's method number 5. Let me select and drag several photos from my desktop. Now, when Photoshop comes up, I won't go above my canvas, instead I'll release them here. As you can see, the first image is placed on the canvas. It features these diagonal lines in order to show me the layer is in transform mode. This means I can resize it, but we'll talk more about that later. The drawback is that I selected 3 photos and each of them will ask me if I want to transform them before I place them on the canvas. That means I have to press Enter 3 times. OK, now they're placed as a different layer type, a smart object. That's an advantage, but we'll cover that later in the course. Finally, option number 6 covers the case where I want to open these 4 photos in Photoshop, but in separate tabs. That's easy to do. In case there are no active projects, I can just drag them inside the program and they'll immediately be loaded up into individual tabs. In case you have an active project, I'll drag them above my canvas area and I'll release them in this position. And we'll get the same thing. Each image will have its own tab. And that's it. I suggest you stick with Ctrl-O, but some of these options might come in handy depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Try each method out and let me know your favourite in the comments section. Have fun!